Hi everyone. In this video we are going to talk about the properties of equality. When solving equations, these properties come in very handy and we most often use these properties to solve different types of equations, right? So we should be familiar with the properties. So let's get started. The first property says that if A is equal to B, this implies that B is also equal to A. It's very simple to understand. I don't think we need any example to explain this. If 2 is equal to 2, then obviously 2 is equal to 2. Or if A is equal to B, if you read it from the other way, it will be B is equal to A. Right? That's the first property. And the second property says that if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, where I put a comma, that comma means and. It's not an or. The comma means and. So it should be read as A is equal to B and B is equal to C. That would imply that A is also equal to C. And essentially, if you think about it, they all three are equal. A is equal to B, which is equal to C. All three of them are equal, right? That's the second property. Another extension of this property would be if A is equal to C, and B is also equal to C, this would imply that A is equal to B. And of course, for this particular situation, all three of them will be equal. So we can say A is equal to B, which is also equal to C. Now let's talk about the third property. If A is equal to B, when A is equal to B, it would imply that A plus another real number will also be equal to B plus the same real number. So essentially it says that if you add the same number on both sides of an equality or an equation, then the equality does not change. It still holds. Similarly, it would also mean that A minus C will also be equal to B minus C. And also A times C will be equal to B times C. And also A divided by C will be equal to B divided by C. But in this case, the only required condition would be C cannot be equal to 0. C cannot be 0, because then it will become a 0 division, right? Division by 0 is not allowed in mathematics. So we have to mention this condition that C cannot be 0. So any non-zero real number is the C. So C is any non-zero real number, right? In that case, this property will be valid. Now let's talk about one other topic here, which is not equality, but it's about fraction. So I'm going to use a different color for that, and I'm going to mark it as the fourth item here that we are going to discuss. And this is about fraction, algebraic fraction. Now here, if we have an algebraic fraction like this, let's say our fraction is A divided by B. This is our fraction. Numerator is A and denominator is B. Then this will also be equal to if the numerator is multiplied by a non-zero real number C and the denominator also multiplied by the same non-zero real number C. So here the required condition is that C is not equal to 0. So let me write it here. C is not equal to 0. C is a non-zero real number. Then the fraction will not change if both the numerator and the denominator are multiplied by C. Or similarly, the fraction will still be same. It will not change if the numerator is divided by C and denominator also divided by C. So in both the cases, the value of the fraction will not change. And this is used so often while simplifying rational numbers or fractions in algebra, that it's very important to understand this property, that multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same non-zero number does not change the original value of the fraction. Similarly, dividing the numerator and the denominator by the same non-zero real number also would not change the value of the original fraction. This brings us to the end of this video. Hope everything made sense. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.